Everybody, welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Paul Fu Podcast. This episode is a banger, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I think this year I got a DM from a company called LeaderX. It's a software company. They wanted to interview me or something. I didn't ask them for money. I just okay, and I just loved the brand, So I didn't know the person behind the company. Something that you just love doing from your heart. And I finally met the Jagaban of the, if you're not Nigerian, of the company. So I have with me Kemi Ogunkoya. Kemi, welcome. But let me read your
Thank
profile
you.
first. Now, Kemi is a leadership development strategist. She's a management consultant. She's an author and member of the prestigious Forbes Coaches Council. She has worked with numerous businesses across the world to develop their capability for leadership. She's the founder of Reli's Works, a leadership development company, LeaderX, a leadership development mobile application or software, and she sits on numerous boards. All right. She's the author of The God Mastery, Magical Pills, the Leadership Guardian, and she's married and blessed with 2 amazing children. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My friend Kemi, how are you?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. It's so good to be here. I'm absolutely excited.
Yes, I really want people to hear your story. So I just want to start. People do coaching, they do one-on-one. Why did you pivot into technology? Why LeaderX?
All right. So quite a number of reasons, right? And there's a place of research. There's a place of just understanding where the world is going and where the market is also, going, and how things are evolving very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the place of the personal burnout, right? So I was just talking to a friend earlier today, and I said, you know what, 2021, and by God's grace, 2022 is going to be the first Christmas in the last 7 years that I'm not ill at about this time.
Wow.
Now, guess what happened, Paul? And this is the interesting thing. So I didn't even know, I wasn't aware that over the last, up until 2020, that every Christmas, about maybe the 24th or so, I used to fall in. Now, why is this so? Now, our industry is quite unique. And usually at the tail end of the year, you have a lot of requests. So a lot of organizations want you to come in for training, for coaching, for retreat, So I was always working late into the year. There were times that I was working up to the 22nd, the 23rd, and guess what? On Christmas Day, I'm in bed. I can stand up. I'm so ill. So it was 2020 when we were going to my in-laws' place for Christmas, which is where we usually spend Christmas. My daughter said to me, Mom, I hope you're not going to be ill this time around. Ooh. And that was it. I'm like, oh my goodness. But like 5 years, truly, I spent my Christmas in bed because I'm not feeling well. So I realized that there's a lot of strain. There was no way that I could multiply myself in so many places. Now, what did we have to do? We had to sit back and see where exactly, do we have the capacity to solve the entire problem? No, we don't, right? But through technology, we can be in more places. We can serve people year in, year out. So first we had to, we formed LeaderX to solve 3 major challenges when it comes to leadership development. Yeah. First, it's a problem of time. A lot of people want to develop themselves. They don't have time. 2 hours trying to develop themselves is like a Herculean task. Organizations were also finding it increasingly difficult to send their staff on training, on long trainings for 3 weeks, or even 3 days. They were in training and then they were working on their system. So time was increasingly becoming a challenge. Now, finance was people, right? They wanted to develop themselves, but then, there's a lot of financial constraints. And of course, a lot of people are quite familiar to the peculiarity of the times and the seasons that we are. So finance was a challenge for individuals and also for organizations. And then the challenge of access. There are a lot of resources out there. You can almost get lost trying to find which, really suits your needs. So with brought all of that together, plus my personal burnout, and we thought of how do we solve these challenges, and by leveraging tech. And that was what brought us to, founding LeaderX, to solve the problem of time, access, and finance, so that people can develop themselves in real time, on the go, anywhere, anytime.
So it was your personal challenge that sort of, if for lack of better terms, forced you to get into the technological part of your business.
Well, yes, the personal side of it was fundamental. And then also trying to understand where the market in itself was going, right? When COVID happened, a lot of things went virtual.
Yes.
A lot of things, and even now that we seem to be achieving that level of stability, there's still quite a number of organizations who still go virtual.
Yes.
A lot of interventions, coaching interventions are still done virtually. So it was important that, we needed to understand the trend in the market and not wait for the change to happen. But, position ourselves effectively to be prepared for that change.
Yes, because it's true. Because sometimes when people change behavior, it's very difficult for them to come back to the behavior that they were before the change happened. I have a company I've been doing training for over a year now. Because of the pandemic, the training is still ongoing. They've still not changed it to physical. It's still online. All right.
Have changed.
Yeah. So people complain about, getting the right people, especially to work with you to bet the vision that God has given to you. Did you have challenge in recruiting? Because you're a technology business, really. Leader is a software business. It's a technology business.
Yeah.
Did you have any challenge in getting your CTO, your chief technology officer, or whatever? What kind of challenges did you face in recruiting talent to run this vision with you?
All right. Thank you very much. Now, we know that challenge is becoming an increasingly
how did you overcome that recruitment challenge? Because the biggest challenge right now for founders and business owners, they tell me, is recruitment. I used to do recruitment for salespeople, but the stress was too much. I just stopped it. So how do you get good people in a country of Jackpa? In a country where young people don't want to work for somebody. So how do you overcome that challenge so that people can hear?
Okay, all right. So quite a number of things have happened, and I think it's important to state that first thing for me was mindset. Okay, mindset. Now, I went into recruitment first with the mindset of talent is available even here. Right? I went in with the mindset of talent is available even here. So if I tell you this, that Paul, the entire team that is working on LeaderX and has worked on every aspect of LeaderX is totally indigenous. We have an indigenous team.
Wow.
And it's something that a lot of people find very difficult to believe. From the UI UX Nigerian, full Nigerians, like our developers, our full Nigerians, content team, everyone on the LeaderX team is indigenous. So I went in first with the mindset of, what? Talent is available even here, and I will find that talent. Now, what was the next important thing? It was important to clearly have defined the vision of the brand, because, there's been a huge shift in why people really want to work. Yeah. When people say, oh, no, not everybody wants to work for people. Yes, a lot of people are getting to that point where they feel there should be that level of self-reliance. They have their own ideas and all of that. But I trust that there are people who still are in that place where they want to give, even in whatever capacity, not because they don't have their own brand. So, for example, within LeaderX, we have people on our team who have their own businesses. So one of the things that was important is that, I needed to have the right mindset about the availability of talent, even in this their situation, and then also come to the point where I'm able to understand the changes in behavior. Changes in behavior. So we have a totally remote team.
Wow.
My chief development of, the chief the chief developer, right?
Mm,
The Leader X project, I have never seen him before.
Whoa!
He's based. He's based in Adamawa, right?
Jesus Christ! I don't stand. I knew this episode was going to be powerful. Now, hang on, guys. Let me give you. I've got all my listeners in the UK, in America, in Australia. Let me just give you guys some context. Adamawa is like you are in a state, and in quotes, the states where the most talented people are not there. In terms of, like in the UK, they have Ofsted where they rate the schools, right? If they rate Adamawa in education, is like very, very poorly. That is where she got her head of development, a technology. So now I get the context. Continue.
All right. So, like I said, mindset was very, very key. Okay, because a lot of things are changing now. There's a challenge of people assuming that the people who are in the workforce today are the same people 3 years ago, 4 years ago. No, they're not the same. So you need to really understand that, and really understand what you have on ground. So he's in Adamawa. I've never seen him before. There's some members of my team that we're just getting to meet. Okay, but everybody's working virtually. Now, what were some of the things that we did? It was important that the vision was very clear.
Yep.
And as people were joining the team, we were selling in from the place of vision. Paul, I have extremely committed team members. Like, if you may not even know that, I'm the founder of Leader X. If, for example, it was one of my team members who first reached out to you, right? And you see that level of commitment, passion, in everything that they do. Because
can I just say something now?
All right.
If there is one thing I will tick Leader X for, is the way they respond in the DMs. It's crazy.
Wow.
I'm not saying that because Leader X is I'm giving you guys. If I'm joking, guys, try them. They respond like, is this somebody that owns the phone? I just sent a message that they will just respond to me. I'm like, I love it.
Wow.
Sure idea.
Wow. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So it was very important that we were very clear about who we were as a brand, right? And because we are also in the business of helping people become better leaders, it was important that there was no level of ambiguity, or disparity between what we were presenting as the brand and who we are as a people.
That's deep. Kemi, right? Can you say that again? That fact that there was no level of disparity between who you were presented as a brand and what was happening in the back end.
Yes.
There was congruence.
Absolutely. And it was important that all of that was clearly in place before we started to onboard people. Okay. So now bringing people in first started from the place of vision. Right? Started from the place of vision. So we're very, 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 very young company.
Yeah.
We have launched in June. Okay, we're a very young company. But I tell you that since we started, nobody on our team has left. Now, Paul, this is not because we have one big portfolio,
payments package.
No. But we have people who feel like they are a part of the brand because they are able to understand the vision. They have been immersed in the lifestyle of Leader X, and they feel that sense of ownership. So some things are very, very clear and very, very, that are non-negotiable pretty much for us, right? And it is about how we treat ourselves, because it is how we treat ourselves on the inside that eventually extend to how we will treat other people outside. Okay.
Fantastic.
We're particular about the brand values, respect. So when people come in, they actually do feel respected. They feel like they're in a place where you care about them. So like I said, mindset was very, very key to understand that, so it was my first time really getting into the tech space. A lot of things had to change. For example, I needed to understand that, how we work in the conventional mainstream space was not how it works in the tech space, like having my developer, for example, I was used to, what, we send in the work, we get it right now.
Mhm.
But then he made me understand that it doesn't work that way because he's
Mhm.
working all through the night.
Mhm.
And then, sometimes it's not up till about 12 or
Mhm.
1 p.m. West African time. Now,
Mhm.
what did that do? It
Mm.
meant that we had to be able to redesign our workflow in a way where people did not feel like they were under unreasonable pressure to deliver. So
That's right.
imagine someone who has worked till about 12 a.m. to deliver because that's his best work time.
Mm.
And then you expect him every day to be up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock for a meeting, right? So it means that we had to rework our meeting times, for example, right? To see, okay, to accommodate. There are times that we have meetings in the mornings, there are times that we have meetings in the evening. And, that level of clarity was just there. The other thing that was very important was to ensure that we were able to, have clarity about our roles and our expectations.
Mm.
Okay, so people come in and they are clear about what they're supposed to do. They actually take that time to onboard and they understand what they're supposed to do. We take them through that walkthrough. So it's not like we just bring people in and then just throw them. Of course, we do a lot of that because we're very lean on ground. So we stretch ourselves. But we stretch ourselves even from the place of empathy, from the place of consideration. And, we stretch ourselves from the place of understanding that we're all on a journey of growth together. So there's no, okay, I get it all the time. No. We're all on a journey of growth. And I think those have been very, very fundamental things because the mindset really shifted me from that dinosaur approach of the workplace.
Yeah.
Really understanding the dynamics of the team, what we want to achieve, and keeping it at that.
Fantastic.
So those are some of the things that have helped us. We haven't held on to talent like, oh, you just have to work for leader X and then there's no other thing. No, we understand that people have other engagements and, they may have other commitments to let us know.
Yeah.
Right. Let us know. Be accountable. Understand that whatever you do affects every other member of the team.
Yeah.
Show up, at the time we are supposed to do, deliver your tasks, and it's been a great experience.
It's really, really powerful, really, because because you just showed how to manage a remote team because there are challenges in managing remote team. So have you started monetizing?
Yes, we have.
How does a monetization plan? Because somebody may be listening to this and say, okay, how can I get my team on board? Do you like a corporate plan for LeaderX?
Yes.
Someone will say, okay, because guys, you can use the link. I'm going to put the link in the show notes of the podcast where you can click. And it's a new year. Many people want to have like a training plan for their people. Yeah. How does LeaderX work? That's the question somebody's asking themselves now. And how can I get my team on board? What are the payment plans? Yeah.
Okay, all right. So pretty much LeaderX is like a personal development tool that helps you develop your leadership skills on the go in real time, anywhere, anytime. And what we have done with LeaderX is to be able to provide daily content. Like we said, we identify time as an issue. So we deliver content in bit sizes. Okay, so every day our users have access to nuggets, they have access to code, they have access to lessons, affirmation, and reflection.
Yeah.
That with as little as 5 to 10 minutes every day, they're able to go.
Very powerful.
Then we have other, interventions. We have book summaries. Okay, they love fun to read, and then they don't have time. So we have book summaries on the app. We have games. We have, mood music to help with productivity. And we also have a community. The assessment feature is also loading and all of that. So we have we have 3 gateways. We have the basic package. The basic package, everybody can get it. All you need to have is your mobile phone, be able to plug yourself on the store and, have internet, and then you can access limited content. Okay, and then we have what we call the plus version. On the plus version, users are able to access the entire, intervention, from the book summaries to the daily content to, the mood music, to articles, to games, to assessment. They're able to access all of that. So for organizations, we have the pathway that we call the enterprise solution.
Mhm.
And with the enterprise solutions, organizations can onboard between 0 to 1,000 plus of their employees on LeaderX, and we have really favorable packages for them based on the number of employees that they're enrolling.
Okay.
So guess what? It now becomes like a community, an extended village circle where your employees are on that part of learning every day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because we believe that leadership should not just be exclusive to some people within the organization. It's a dinosaur mindset to want to wait for people to get into leadership positions, then you start to train them. It's too late.
No, it's too late.
Okay. So you start to build the muscles at every level. And that's what LeaderX does, because we deliver practical content, relatable content, things that affect people from decision making to negotiation skills to communication to personal development. It's just really quite interesting. So those are some of the ways that organizations can get in. So immediately they get on our website, for example, there's a form to fill. They can send in the request, and then we're happy to onboard them.
Onboard them, fantastic. That's it. So guys, you guys are hearing that. You should check that out. Some of you who maybe I see you listening to this right now, you just employed some new people, sales or whatever, and they are still in the probation period or whatever. You can sign them up so that their minds are prepared. By the time they start work, they can hit the ground running because they've already been impacted. So let me get a bit tactical with you. How did you guys get your first 10 customers, your first 20 customers, your first 20, 30 customers? I like my podcast to be very tactical so people can learn. And so we got our first 5 customers like this. We got our 5, 6 customers like this. Like I was telling you in the last podcast, we have a little CRM that we built in-house. We made our first 1 million by me just picking up the call and calling people in WhatsApp group that I belong to. So that was a direct way of getting our first 1 million in sales using the CRM. Of course, we've done more than that now, but that's exactly what we did to get our first set of customers. What did you guys do to get your first set of customers? What's specific?
Okay. All right, Paul. So we're not so far away from what you did with the sales tracker. It was important that, when we launched the app, I first formed my own network. Network from my mobile phone, WhatsApp, the groups that I am associated with, my own groups, I put that, and then we started to send out messages for the launch because we had a physical launch for LeaderX. So it was important that we got the word out before we launched the app. That way we were able to whet the appetite of people, so they were looking forward to it. So we went on, we did sponsored ads to get people in, and then we went on individual messaging on LinkedIn, for example, because we know that a lot of our users, the demographic of our users are on LinkedIn. So we sent personal messages. So that was how we were able to get our first about 200 people who signed up for LeaderX, and it's been an ongoing journey ever since.
Wow, guys, I hope you guys are hearing this. So they didn't wait for the app to sign people up by itself. If the NASA is in the App Store, no, they made a move, and they are still making that move. That specificity is so. Kemi, there are different topics you could have thought of. You are in various boards. Do you believe that your exposure to different kinds of business, did that help you as you grew your own business when you come to work and see all of those experiences play out? You're like, oh, I've seen it before in that board. I've seen it out. I know where they will end up. Does that help? Being exposed to different background, yeah.
Absolutely, Paul. It is very, 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 very vital. So I say that there's no experience that is a waste.
Come on,
there's
man.
no experience that is a waste, right? So when I had my first degree was in education. Okay, my first degree was in education, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this, right? when Nigeria
was your mom a teacher?
Right, Paul. I needed to get out of the house at that time.
Yeah.
So I did, JAM.
I get it.
Board exam. joined an admission matriculation board or exam, right? That's the exam that we take in Nigeria from high school to get into university.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did the exam once. I didn't quite make great grades. So I was thinking, am I going to stay at home for another year? Or I'm going to get in. So at the time I was getting in, it was quite late already. So they started closing out on the department that I wanted to study, which was international relations.
Mm.
So all was left, it was education. I'm like,
Let me do it.
Somehow I found myself there. And Paul, I did special education, working with special needs children.
Oh, lovely.
Economics. Now you wonder how does it help? How does it help?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to being in, workshops or having to interact with leaders, the amount of patience needed to work with special needs children is remarkable. Right? It's remarkable. Now, when it comes to now transferring knowledge, right? Skills that I was able to garner there are those skills that help me stand out, right? And I'm not oblivious to this. I am very, very aware of how instrumental all these experiences, have come on to become. I had experience in the banking industry, for example. Right? I had experience in banking. I had a thing in HR, I had a thing in sales, right? And all of these have come to help me, pretty much come up with a what do you call it, like a skill portfolio.
Yeah.
Things that I do now.
So you have a very rich cocktail of skill.
Exactly. Because, being here, you've seen something here, somehow you're able to bring it on board. You're able to bring this on board. So I say that no experience is wasted. It depends on how you see that experience. If you see it as a wasted experience, trust me, you're right. It's wasted. But then if you see it as a tool, that is preparing you for life, then it would be a blessing to you. So no experience is wasted. Every experience that I have had, however small or big, be it from the place of internship to the place of, being at work, the place of stretching myself, doing ridiculous things in paid employment, right? All of that have helped me build the muscle to who I am. And,
I reckon that those experiences, being in education, will even help you in putting together leadership curriculum for training. Because I go to your Instagram page, I see you training First Bank, this bank. I'm sure it helps you a lot. Working with special needs children has built you in terms of your empathy.
Absolutely. Paul, when I go into coaching sessions, right? It's like, so I got a call about 3 days ago. I was overwhelmed. At the end of the day, I was just like, oh, it's been a long day. And then one of my coaching clients called me. I was like, oh, I wanted to call you for like forever. Each week, you're on my mind. Now, I coached her over a year ago, right? And then she comes to tell me, Coach, everything that that I committed to through that coaching intervention, I have achieved it, right? And for me, it was beyond a transaction. When I coach, it's way beyond the transaction. It's about being able to understand where my client is and understand how they need to get there, right? And you cannot do that without empathy. And those were some of the muscles that I built, having that experience with the special needs children, because you don't sympathize with them, you empathize with them. So even when I work with my clients, I'm not sympathizing with them. I'm not feeling sorry for them. I empathize with them. And then we get to read. We start to see possibilities.
Fantastic.
And then, it totally changes the story.
Fantastic. All right. What keeps you up at night at this stage of your business?
What do you want to hear? What keeps me? It keeps me about looking for investors.
Man, you have a technology business. That's a big deal, man. I know that this company just raised like I think $3 million. They call them Staring is a media company in Lagos. They write about the news. They subscribe to
Yeah.
read their stuff about 4,000. So a lot of VC money has been pumped into the technology space in Nigeria. So a lot of money came to Nigeria this year. A lot will come to Nigeria next year. And
Yes.
we are in the women century.
Mm.
Yes, we're in the women's century.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you thinking about going into an incubator later in the future? Or will you get funding? What keeps you up at night?
That keeps me up at night. So for Leader X, right? We're working on, like I said, it's not a one-sided kind of intervention. Okay, so we're talking about on Leader X, for example. There's a particular product or a feature that we're launching, and if you go on the app, you see coming soon. It's called Fire Class. The concept of Fire Class is to have short bursts of powerful, sessions by thought leaders all over the world. Now,
Awesome.
help me put the numbers to that, right? To see just how much of funds that will be needed to create such a world-class, robust library of thought leadership across the world.
Yeah.
So, we need a lot of money for that, and we're happy to go into those programs, those incubator programs.
So guys, send them an email, man. This is this is a unicorn. This is a unicorn in the making, man. Kekemi, what book really affected you, in your come up stage or even at this stage? What is that one book that you'd say, man? For me, one of the books that's really affected me a lot is this book, Think and Grow Rich. I still read it almost every day. It's a foundational book.
Yeah, it is.
It's a foundational book. And so what is that one book that really, really made a difference in you? I know when I used to read leadership books, the 22 irrefutable laws
of leadership
by John Maxwell. That was a leadership Bible. The law of the lead. He talked about the law of the lead, the law of this, the law. I knew that book. That guy is a leadership sage. So what is that for you?
So the book for me is a book by Jack Canfield, right? And Jack Canfield is
Success Principle.
And that book was how to get from where you are
to where you want to be. Yeah.
Oh, Paul, that book transformed my life.
Wow.
I was at a stage in my life where I was looking for answers at that point. And, reading from the very first page, it was about taking 100% responsibility for your life.
Yeah. That was chapter 1. That was chapter 1 of the book. Yeah.
That was it for me. And since I encountered that book, then my life totally changed. So it was one of, you know how you would have been reading books, right? But then somehow you haven't imbibed the things that you read. That book was one of the first books that I read and then I digested. And it didn't end there. Paul, it was like my Bible. I was sleeping this book. I'm like, truly, yes, I need to take 100% responsibility for my life. And I did. I did. It was bye-bye to, if I studied another course, this was going to happen. If I did this. No, it wasn't about that anymore. It was like, what future do I want for myself? What do I need to create for myself? Why am I here? What difference am I here to make? Right? And when I got the hang of that, Paul, there's been no stopping. There's been no stopping. And I think it's important that people understand that books can truly take us to places that we've never thought was possible. Like that book opened my mind like no other. Like, Paul, let me give you context though. Sure. This was me that when I was growing up, I didn't like to read, right? My mom would have to come and read. You wake me up in the morning to read. I knew how to set my head in a way that if I'm sleeping, my head was be straight. I would sleep like this, it would not change. Right? But then when I read that book, my life changed. and this is me who today now has written 3 books.
Wow.
Right? And then I have so many other babies sitting on my laptop just waiting, to be pushed out there. So it's really, really remarkable. And I really love the book, Think and Grow Rich Too. It's one of those books for me too. But it was Jack Canfield that did the magic.
Wow. Wow. This has been a very, very fascinating conversation. Kemi, is there anything you'd like to let our listeners know? Where can they get LeaderX? How do they follow you? What platform are you predominant? I know that you are very active on Instagram. LeaderX is doing an amazing job on Instagram. So where can they download? I'm going to put a link to LeaderX where you guys can just download it. And so where can they get you? Where can they even get your books? Your books on Amazon. Where do they get the books? Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you can find me, Kemi, on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram and LinkedIn. So Kemi Ogunkoya. You find me there. LeaderX is also, Instagram is on LinkedIn, Facebook. So you find LeaderX app. But to download the application, you would go to your stores, the iOS, and then the Google Play. And then you type in LeaderX together, together, no space in between. And then you will be welcomed to a world of awesomeness, right? And then to get my book, The Leadership Guardian, or any of my books, you can go on my website, www.kemiobukoya.com. You can also find my books on Amazon, right?
Yeah, that's Amazon, a good Christmas gift. Get it for Christmas.
It is, and we have lots of other interventions to cards, personality cards. I have a leadership model, that can also help you significantly develop your leadership skills. So that's all available on my website or also on Amazon.
Wow, this has been a fascinating conversation, guys. I hope you enjoyed. So share this with your friends and write a comment. That's how more people get to know the podcast. Until I'm interviewing Bridget Adeyemi next. She is one of the biggest real estate persons in Nigeria. She sold a house of 1.5 billion naira in 48 hours. Yeah,
oh, wow.
She's successful. No, she sold a unit of I think over 15 units in less than 3 days. Amazing. No, she's a sales machine. Yeah, so I'm interviewing her next. So thank you, Kemi. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Paul. I had an absolutely fantastic time.
I knew the conversation would go well. I knew it.